around the festival, and we think that you guys, just knowing you guys, you might really like this movie and this guest. I know it's last minute, maybe too late, and I remember thinking in my head, yeah, it is kind of last minute, and we don't really. They sent over a screener, and I was like, I don't have time to watch a screener. I've got a 12-year-old girl who doesn't like me. There's a lot going on in my house right now. I thought, well, I'll watch, we do an interview. You'd like to at least know the tone of a film before you get into it. Just the tone. And you could get that from 3-4, the opening.
Yeah.
35 minutes later, I realized that I had dinner burning on a stove. I could smell it because I got completely engrossed in 1-800-HOT.
I was mad that I was watching it on my phone, and I should have sent it up to my big screen.
Yeah. We're talking with Nick Ritchie. And Allie, give me your last name.
Ritchie as well.
Oh, I can almost suspect, I think, what's going on here.
Plot twist.
Plot twist. Dirty. Fantastic. So, first of all, welcome to both of you.
Welcome. First time in Austin?
First time in Austin.
Oh, well, welcome.
Yeah, really amazing city. It's actually my second time, but I came 6 years ago and was in here for South by Southwest, which was a much different vibe. It was pretty...
It's a different festival.
The streets were packed like Disneyland Main Street is packed, and so this feels like I am actually getting to walk around Austin.
Yeah, and we talk about it because they're two very different kind of... We're excited to have all kind of things going on in Austin. The film festival, this one feels like a little more like where you're getting hugs and care, and then also it really, really focusing on writing. I like them both for different reasons. I don't want to blow anybody out, but we've had a long-term relationship with the Austin Film Festival, and it is kind of cool because we talked about it. Is that if you're a really big fan of film or writers, one day you want to be a writer, something like that. The fact that everybody is pretty approachable at this thing, with the exception of I can't remember his name. There's one guy who's got really mad at me and yelled at me.
I'm sure it was deserved.
No, it wasn't. I was just in a bar, and he just walked up to me and goes, "You have the most annoying voice I've ever heard in my life." It's the guy that did JFK.
My God.
Oliver
Stone said that to you?
What an honor.
Just walked up to me out of the blue. Well, the thing is I was hosting the award ceremony the next day, and then I got up there, and we made eye contact, and I was like, oh, you
That's
prick.
uncomfortable.
It was fun, actually. It was really enjoyable. Nick, first of all, this is not your first film. You did Lolo, which I think a lot of people may have seen, correct?
We did, yeah. This was our second film together, Allie and I.
Oh, you did them together. So, yeah. Allie, I apologize. What I read yesterday was just about, and that's not fair to you at all. So let's make sure that we include you in all of that, okay?
Oh, you're very sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes, and I'm embarrassed about it. No. So you guys did both of them together?
Yeah, we did both of them together. I wrote and directed both films. Allie produced and starred in them.
So Allie was your boss.
Allie she's the boss in all ways.
Okay,
yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Just a really quick synopsis, basically. This is a couple of 13-year-old boys out at night. One of the young men, his parents, his parents are taken away in the middle of the night. Let's just say that. I guess maybe it's even in the liners, but they there's a drug bust.
Yeah.
They don't come from, none of these kids come from what you would call the all-American suburban background.
That's right.
Do we know the setting? I was watching on my phone. So did we establish the city, or is it left open? It's urban.
It's left open. You just kind of know it's sort of this...
It's an urban setting.
Yeah.
And what's great is I hear them mention the year... they put us in the 2020s.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
At one point. But when I'm watching this, it could be the 1980s.
70s.
It could be the 1970s.
Yeah.
I don't know
that, yes.
where it... And I think maybe part of that was... Look, there was so much of... After my parents divorced and I was just living with my mother and would sneak out. There was so much of my own life in this. It was a little uncomfortable at times, especially now that my daughter's 12 and is approaching sneak out age.
Right.
How do you guys come up with the idea? Why was this movie written?
So this was a semi-autobiographical movie.
I got that feeling.
Yeah. A lot of things happened to me. I kind of just grew up in a lower class, setting outside of Portland, Oregon. And I used to call this phone sex operator all the time when I was 12, 13, and I was just starting to explore. There were some themes in my life where I thought, there was things that just kind of made me grow up a little too fast.
Okay.
Just things that made me feel like, I was too young for that. Why did that have to happen at that time?
Sure.
I shouldn't have been dealing with that. And so I started approaching that subject matter and wanted to see if I could make this really kind of Stand By Me for this generation, kind of condensed film where everything takes place in one night, and you're seeing these three boys kind of on the precipice of adulthood, and hopefully you're watching it and going, they're having fun. There's some fun moments, obviously comedy, but that you would also say it's a little too early. This shouldn't be happening for them right now, and I think there's a lot of and you don't have to come from a lower class background to have that kind of thing happen. Trauma or even some positive things can happen and sort of thrust you into adulthood. I imagine young actors, that become famous at 12 are thrust into adulthood from, just living out their dream, So it was that exploration that brought us to the script. I knew what the opening scene was just because I've been in that phone booth too many times.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that throws you out about where we are, because I know why you had to do what you did. Instead of having these kids with a cell phone or whatever, there is this beautiful scene, and that's where I like that you almost played. I don't want to call it sci-fi, even though some of the lighting was sci. I like that you kind of played with, I'm going to give you a date, but I'm also going to let you as an audience, you're going to put whatever you want on it. And I think, I'm assuming, was it kind of a director's choice?
Totally a choice, yeah. I mean, look, in a dream world, there was a possibility that we would have made this movie as a period piece, but Allie and I made it on our paltry savings account. So
how's your savings account doing right now?
It's not doing great, but actually the movie's achieving some really cool success now and getting some international deals that just came through this week, and it's exciting to know it's going to be playing in Australia and New Zealand and France and South Korea, and so that's starting to shape up. But yeah, so basically, it was the middle of the pandemic, and I'm like, all right, we're going to go make an offer and buy our first house, or we can make a movie.
Well, people don't understand the sacrifices that go into becoming a filmmaker or making a film on this level. Are the kids having a blast with? These kids are great, and you must have had fun casting it.
These
and
kids were incredible.
Are they enjoying the limelight a little bit?
Oh, yes. We just got to have our French premiere in Deauville, France, and they all got to come and had the best time. And
yeah, you're watching them walk down this red so our first screening in France was at 10:30 a.m. and I'm thinking, no way is anyone going to be there. It's going to be a crowd of 50.
Right.
We walk in, it's 1,600 people. It's sold out. The boys, we have this video of the boys going,
oh my God.
Yes.
1,600 people, and they knew who they were. They were applauding, so they walked in, and everyone stands and applauds as these.
Oh, that's
as these
incredible!
Kids walk in, it's
Amazing.
nuts. Yeah.
Well,
it's
and
nuts.
this movie had to be bootstrapped because, and this is the part that I want to make clear to our audience, because we do have an audience of a lot of people who probably grew up like these boys.
Yeah.
Right? I think because of the way our show is and where our station is and the history or whatever, there was a lot of people out there who did not have perfect bucolic. I probably shouldn't use the word bucolic with our listeners.
Let me write that down.
I was trying to sound
I'm going to
good.
use that 3 times today.
Yeah.
I don't know what it means, but I'm going to say it.
And these perfect upbringings, right? Yeah. And no studio, they might pick it up later when it gets some heat. No studio was going to let you make this movie without you changing so much about it, because they're going to say, you can't have 13-year-olds talking like this. You can't have 13-year-olds getting in a hot tub in the second thing that we see. You can't have these things because it's uncomfortable. And I don't want to liken your movie to other movies, but there's a feeling there from the movie Kids. It's 20 years ago, but there's a feeling there where it was too raw and too real, and they're going to say, this is NC-17, we can't make the money back on it. We want you to change it, and can you make it more Superbad? And the thing is that Superbad's a fun romp, but that's also what happens when suburban kids, things go awry. Yours was, these kids are pretty bold because this is not that insane to them because they kind of have jacked up lives.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what I really appreciate. I had a friend named Alan that I grew up with, and I remember sneaking out one night, and we had 2 hot beers, and there was 4 kids, and we were splitting 2 hot beers. And then I remember at one point, Alan stopped. We were 13, 14 years old. Alan stopping to urinate on a guy's Porsche that was parked in a turn lane. So he just walked up, and we had mohawks, we were skateboard kids, and he starts peeing on this guy's car. The guy gets out and is like, you little whatever. And then Alan, and we didn't know, Alan pulls out a knife from his pocket and is like, I will kill you. And I remember thinking, man, Alan's the coolest. Alan's dead now. He died in a prison fight, and things didn't work out for him. But there were those things when I think about it as an older person, like, what were we doing that night? It seemed so much fun and scary and edgy, and you can't be harmed when you're that age because screw it.
you're invincible.
And you're out after, and you made this really awesome thing. Let's talk about this because Allie, you're the phone sex operator.
Yes.
I was afraid to ask that question.
I
didn't want to assume, but I thought because of the budgetary constraints that it might have been you.
Yes. Yeah. From the beginning when we were creating this movie, we always knew I was going to play the phone sex operator.
Okay.
And we should say, if you haven't seen this movie, which most people haven't yet, but if you've seen The Warriors, there's a radio personality in The Warriors who lets everybody know where the Warriors are right now. They're going right to the... And the phone
All
sex
the good
operator...
movies have that.
You're this kind of, machine outside of the machine who's guiding these players.
Yes.
It's like
I'm
Super
almost
Soul.
This, Exactly. I'm almost this kind of fairy godmother to these
Right.
boys throughout the movie, giving them terrible, but...
In American Graffiti, it was Wolfman Jack. And I've drawn parallels to American Graffiti in a way, the coming-of-age movie in the 50s. And your movie is, of course, yours is a little more hardcore, but it's still a coming-of-age. But, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and at the time, American Graffiti was a risky film. You know, I appreciate that. Of course, I would love for the film to be mentioned in the same sentence.
And I didn't mean to interrupt you. I know you were in a thought there, but so I was going to ask you, did you shoot Available Light?
Yeah, so
because it has a very, I don't want to say documentary feel, but it kind of does. In that, a lot of times I see movies that are shot at night, and you go, okay.
Well, you guys just didn't want to pay for the permits. We know it's out. You were in LA. You don't want to pay for permits.
And you just know it's shot at night. They've lit it, and it's all. This feels like it's just so natural and real that it adds to the texture of it and the tension.
We found locations by driving around. We would just drive around from the hours of 9 p.m. to like 1 in the morning to find locations that were lit a certain way. And then knowing, okay, look, if there was going to be a light, it had to be motivated really well. So like when a kid's outside a liquor store, I could say, okay, yeah, I could pump some neon underneath that sign. We would get up there earlier in the day, run a strip light up there and know that it was going to kind of pour down a blue or something. But it was, we're talking a 2-man lighting crew running around with duct tape and small lights. So
it adds to the it adds to the realism for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was hoping for that. What I was hoping, during the pandemic, there was actually a rise in phone sex operator business. Which was funny. Now that I've done the movie, we see payphones every once in a while, and we're like, there's still a payphone.
Right.
But the idea was, guys like me, guys like us, we could watch this and go, God, I was this kid. It wasn't that long ago. It doesn't feel long ago. I was drinking warm beers, breaking out of the house with my friends and raising hell. And then kids today could look at it and go, that's me too. The way these boys are talking, the way that these girls are talking. And we've had both experiences where we've had 14, 15-year-olds come up to us and go, finally, like a movie where kids are our age are actually played by kids our age,
right,
and are actually talking like we talk, and
because you
like
didn't, and did you have? How do you, when you're writing something like this, because it is so much like the meme, "Hey, fellow kids." When adults write for kids, sometimes it's very obvious where they have tried to pigeon in or shoehorn in slang.
Right.
Did you let these kids did you give them a structure and then say, talk the way you would talk through this?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, it was scripted, and then we had Zoom rehearsal sessions where I said, look, if this line doesn't feel natural, give me the natural version. Tell me how you'd say it. And so then I would rewrite it.
That's smart.
Based on their slang. Yeah, so there was a collaboration there. And luckily, Allie's got a younger sister who's not much older than these boys, and I mentored a kid who's like not much older than these boys. So I was already a little bit privy to some of the ways they were talking.
Gotcha.
And I would ask, like, why do you say that? And I'd write it down. Okay, there's a word, me, my old man self.
Allie, what would happen if I dialed 1-800-HOT-NIGHT? Did you guys buy the...
We tried. It's already...
You already got somebody else?
Sadly to say, I will not be on the side of that.
So our plan was to buy it and then have this pre-recording. Yeah. Allie's like, well, I don't want to try to do it, but thanks for calling 1-800-HOT-NIGHT and have this this whole fun thing.
Right.
It's owned by like an aerospace company or something. Please don't call it. They probably.
I'm sorry I brought it up. I don't want to get you in trouble.
No, it's great. They probably hate our guts.
Think about whoever owns 8675309. I mean, there's a lot of people that have had to deal with stuff. So you just mentioned something else. You said you grew up a little tough. and then you said mentoring kids. Did you ever lose your parents at some point, or?
There were just different scenarios where my dad ended up in treatment or something and had to be.
Was your father an addict?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, so I grew up in the Al-Anon program,
Okay.
Al-Tweens, and so my mom was, working at Red Lobster, raising 4 boys. We were living in a Section 8 housing block,
Sure.
and I've got, it's really kind of a fun world to mine because I don't look back at it as I love my parents. My parents rocked. They were great. And
Sure.
and I have a great
Look, we
relationship
have
with them.
tons of people who have addicts as parents that
Yeah.
grew up through that, and you don't stop loving somebody who's your parent, even sometimes when they're very cruel. And but one of the things I think it's so hard, and why it's probably good that you went through therapies and stuff like that, is to
Yeah.
figure out and compartmentalize all that stuff.
Yeah, and so a lot of the movie is like a little bit of an amalgam of some of my personal experiences, and then other friends' experiences that were my best friends, and watching them lose their parents, or
Right.
or one of my friends ending up in foster care, or ending up getting shipped off to Brooklyn because his parents are in prison and his grandma lives out there and he doesn't even know her.
Right.
And so it just I kind of took some of those stories that all still felt really close to home for me. If there's one thing I can do well is remember little stories from childhood and stuff.
You bring that up, and I wanted to ask you too about like fostering things. One of the things I thought was beautiful about this film is that you're alluding to things like that. You're alluding to some real traumatic stuff that happens to kids.
Yeah.
But too often Hollywood wants to show us that thing, and they really want to really lay on heavily the sadness, the tragedy of this child in the foster system, and almost like they're not humans. They're something to be pitied.
Right. And
you show us kids who are. I don't pity these kids, though I know that I could.
Yeah.
And that's why I love this movie. That's why I had a hard time. I want to try to get out there tonight, and that's one of the reasons that I ended up hitting stop on the screener, because
Yeah,
I was like, I
that's
want to
when
go
I
see it
that's
with a
why I
crowd of
stopped.
people. But it's it's a movie where I felt like, I could just watch these kids every night on a GoPro. I love all 3 of them. They're really engaging, and the girls, really fantastic. And I remember like the fear in the one child's name. I forget the shorter of the 3 actors.
Steve.
When the girls are inviting the
Steve.
guys, like, get in the hot tub, and Steve is me. We're like, oh my God, girls were horrifying. They were separate creatures. They were not humans. And
they were humiliating his dress too, right? His clothes,
Yeah, I know.
his
Yeah,
shorts
that's just
and
how I was.
everything. So they made it rough for him.
That
but-
happened to me. My clothes got stolen out of this. I just got new school clothes. My mom had gotten them off a layaway. I'm stoked. I'm like, I'm
Layaway.
going to get to wear my new clothes to school. She put them in the wash. We go out to get them. They're stolen, and I had to wear my brother's awful. I was just, and I knew I was gonna put that in the movie. I was like, I'm putting that in the movie. He's gonna hate it.
This I really enjoyed this thing. By the way, we've been talking to Allie and Nick both.
Where's it showing tonight? Because
Well, that's what I'm
Kane
gonna
and
tell
I
you.
are going out tonight.
Tonight
to see
it's at the State Theater at 8 p.m. I believe this is your bigger premiere at the festival. Is there going to be a red carpet walk, things like that?
Yeah, there's gonna be a little red carpet. I know there's tickets still available. Love to have everyone out. And then the movie actually officially comes out on iTunes, Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can buy or rent movies tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
so it's available to
Perfect.
the public starting tomorrow.
Perfect. People, this is, trust me, you want to, okay, here's the secret message. It's going to be Friday night tomorrow. You should rent this. Get super high and really enjoy this. This is a really fun movie to watch when you're baked or whatever. And it's a fun, but it's also smart. You guys did a great job. I didn't expect to like. This sounds so backhanded, but I didn't expect to like it as much as I did.
Thanks
I
so much.
really
Yeah,
did.
every once in a while, like a movie comes along that doesn't look like every other movie. It's for me. That's what this was.
Well, and
it's like I'm not sure what I'm watching right now. I don't know where it's going. I'm not sure what I'm watching. It's beautiful. It's shot well, but it's real.
Well, and I saw a little bit of a blurb, and I was like, "Oh, is this going to be a super bad of just trying to call sex line?" It's not. It's not. you could
Goes a
easily
lot
see that
deeper,
on the from the two liners that I saw on it. It's great. It's a really good movie, and congratulations to you.
Congratulations,
and
you guys.
I'm sorry that we're running out of time because I'd love to talk to you about more. But
Thank you so
congrats
much.
to you, and everybody should. If you can stream it tomorrow, go rent it and do something good for some people who have to pay off a huge amount of debt, and just like you, will never be able to afford a house because they chase their dreams, which is stupid. Stop chasing your dreams. Go get a job you hate and just crumple up and die, everybody. Thanks to both of you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thanks again to your streamers as well. Thanks to Panadas for setting us up, and to Renegade.
Mornings with Matt and Bob in studio is brought to you by Empanadas. Available in the frozen food aisle of your favorite grocery store. And Renegade Truck Accessories, your source for truck caps, bed covers, lift kits, window tinting, and custom services. Mornings with Matt and Bob in studio is brought to you by Empanadas. Available in the frozen food aisle of your favorite grocery store. And Renegade Truck Accessories, your source for truck